name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros.
Hey everybody, Alex with Bay Cities Construction here. Welcome to our weekly show. This is the show that we talk about construction and real estate, and we are educating you one project at a time. Today we're going to talk about Soft Story Retrofit. We've done a show already on an intro show on Soft Story Retrofitting. Today we're going to talk about the difference between using a welded moment frame and a prefabricated bolted on frame. So let's get started with the show. We also have some amazing giveaways. So for the first 5 people that share, I've got some t-shirts, got some ball caps. I even have some free coffee from your favorite locations. We have a couple of quiz questions too. Whoever gets those quiz questions right, as your professor, I will award you not with an A, but with a free dinner. So let's get started with the show. I have some really cool slides to share with you, some really good information. I look forward to interacting with you. Please post your comments, share the post. Remember, if you share, sharing is caring. We'll give a little love back and give you some Bay Cities gear. So share, it's important, and give us your comments. It's really important that we interact with you, we answer your questions. You may know somebody that needs to do some retrofitting. If you're in the city of LA, in Los Angeles, Santa Monica, or San Francisco, all of those cities have these new laws that are going into effect that require buildings to be retrofitted. So go ahead and share that information with them. Let them know about the show. If you want to remodel your house, you're thinking about remodeling your house, you want to learn more about kitchen, bathroom remodeling, if you're considering a home addition, we're going to have some really cool episodes in the next few weeks that are going to deal with those topics. And because I love to give you more value every time that we see each other, we are going to have guests, realtors that are absolute experts in their geographic location. They're going to talk to us about what's going on in the market right now. If you've been following the stock market, you've seen that it's been crazy up and downs, and that will affect eventually interest rates. And it's important to, I think, for you to know what your house is worth, what the return on investment is for any construction projects. So real estate and construction, they're commingled. We're here to educate you on both of those things. We have some exciting stuff coming up in the next few weeks. So let's get on with the show. Moment frames, welding versus bolting. So there's a topic, this is a topic of some contention, depending on who you talk to. It has a significant impact on several things. One of them is pricing, the other is the time length. We're going to talk about how it affects how either using a moment frame, we're going to talk about what a moment frame is, first of all. I'm going to tell you what that is. I'm going to tell you what Soft Story is, Soft Story Retrofit is. We'll talk about bolted moment frames, welded moment frames, Simpson strong walls, and all of these crazy terms that are construction related that you don't know what the hell they are, but you would like to know, and you would like to know how it impacts your wallet. So I'm going to give you a real brief introduction on what a Soft Story Retrofit is, okay? So for Soft Story Retrofit 101, basically it is any structure that has a living structure above and a parking underneath it, okay? So this big opening, the big opening here at the front of the, in this case it's the back of the building, the fact that it's completely open on the bottom makes it a soft story building, okay? And if you're in Los Angeles or Santa Monica and you have a soft story building that's been designated soft story by the city, you have to be 3 units or larger, and 3 units or larger, soft story retrofit. That criteria requires a soft story retrofit repair. We're going to talk about what that is, okay? Typically, these buildings were made in the 70s or before 79, and they have underground parking, and they were made out of wood. They're wooden structure, wooden frame, or stick building. So let's get into this. These are some of the images I think that we've taken from the internet. If you've been researching Soft Story Retrofit, they come up quite a bit. One was a computer animated. The other one is a welded steel moment frame being put in. There's a few techniques for installing this, and this happens to be the bury technique, where it actually gets buried into the ground. See those boys trying to muscle that big heavy beam in there. But let's talk about what it is structurally, what it does structurally. Houses, you may see these little piers, right? And you think, man, can that really hold the weight? Well, it was designed, those little posts were designed to hold the vertical weight. The problem is the kinetic energy generated by an earthquake causes the top heavy building to sway quite a bit. So that causes a very significant problem for the edges of the building. So you've got these, it really will depend on which unit. The wider the opening, the more posts you will have, okay? In this case, it's a very wide opening, so the retrofit in this diagram calls for 2 moment frames. I would say 90% of your buildings are gonna require only 1 moment frame.
Say hi to some viewers.
Oh, who do we got? Who do we got on?
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Who do we got on? We got some folks. Lydia from New York City. Robert Bonner from Washington State. Robert is an architect, so for those of you interested in seeing some of Robert's work, he's a very, very skilled architect in Washington State, and he's got some really cool modern designs. I think, Robert, you can go ahead and post your website on our feed so that the other viewers can see it. I think people would really dig your designs. All right, so the wider the opening, the more moment frames you'll need, and the larger the moment frames. Now, a really cool thing that you should pay attention to here is that we try and put the posts of these moment frames right where the existing posts are, right? Because we don't want to lose parking. That's a real important factor in figuring out how the moment frame is going to fit on the structure, is that you don't lose any parking space. So let's talk a little bit about what the market is and what who's affected and what areas are affected. Right now, it's estimated that in Los Angeles, 13,500 buildings are affected. Santa Monica's got a little bit less than 2,000 buildings. West Hollywood and Beverly Hills are in the works for the laws coming on the books. They're probably about another year, maybe a year and a half away from being activated, so to speak, or legislated into existence. But Los Angeles and Santa Monica have the laws have already passed, and we're a couple years into it. So just know that in the Bay Area, there's 20. Well, it depends on what city. I think the total number is over 140,000 buildings in the San Francisco, Oakland area that will eventually go on. I think the ones that are active right now are about 27,000. So as you can see, there's a very significant amount of buildings that are affected by this law or will be affected by future laws coming in. So I think that it's an important time now to educate property owners on what they're facing. Luce, thanks for coming on board. It's my beautiful wife, Luce Rodriguez. Luce, make sure you share it. All right, let's look at an actual picture of what a soft story looks like. Right, this is as you can see, a four bay opening, and a building like this would require, I would say 90% of the time would require only 1 moment frame, even though you have 2 stories above here, right? So this adds a significant amount. Now keep in mind that a single story structure between the roof and the floor weighs about 50 pounds per square foot. You add another floor to it, you're looking at about 80 pounds per square foot. So think about that on a building that, let's say it's 17 feet deep, do a little bit of the math, you could easily have, 80,000, 70,000 pounds of mass moving caused by an earthquake. So those forces can be substantial and scary. So the moment frame design has to be adequate enough to resist that force, the force of the building moving caused by the earthquake. So the codes that are affected, or the buildings, the units are units typically are built before 1979, and they're 90% of the time they're 3 units or more. So you could have So if you have a two unit building that is soft story, you're not mandated to do the repair, but you should give us a call or send us some images of your project, and we'd love to give you a recommendation based on what you see, because that doesn't necessarily mean that you're out of harm's way. It just means that the law doesn't make you do the repair work, okay? So let's see what else we got here. Received notice in the mail. You would have gotten a notice by mail, that's for sure. What is a moment frame?
A notice from who?
A notice from the city. So your legislated city, Santa Monica or the city of Los Angeles, were definitely issued out notices for the properties, and they did give it a scale of priority, right? So if you had a two-story building that, and your 10 units, you have a much higher priority to do the repair. You got an earlier notification than the other smaller type buildings. So moment frames. Let's talk about moment frames right now. What you have here is 3 pictures of, in this case, it's a Simpson moment frame. Really kind of cool and interesting system. You can see that these units are prefabricated at a factory in California. It's a huge factory. They're going to be expanding. In fact, we're going to be bringing you a video. We're going to take a tour of the factory in the next few weeks, and we're going to do another show where we're going to incorporate our tour of the factory. Simpson has been a long time producer of construction connectors. They make all sorts of seismic connectors, and I guess it's a natural progression for them to go into building moment frames. So the structural components, it's made out of steel. You have a column, you've got a base, and the overall design of the moment frame is made to resist the force inflicted on the building by the earthquake, right? So long story short, I mean, really what you want is to have the building, is to do a design enough resistance that the building will not be catastrophically damaged. I mean, we definitely don't want the building to fall, but you want to be able to have enough resistance that the building would only suffer interior damage that would be like drywall or plaster damage. It wouldn't be something where the building would get red tagged, right? Like, you want a design that'll get you that level of protection. So the moment frame in itself, it causes the building to be more rigid, and it creates a shear force resistance, right? And in our opinion, the moment frames are better than welded frames, and we'll talk about why. Here's another example of a moment frame installed, and the one of the cool things about the Simpson product is that you see these nailers on the ends. You can actually order them like that. When we put together a plan for a customer, we spec out the entire moment frame, and we spec out where these nailers are going to be. By having these nailers already attached to the frame, it adds it reduces the cost of the project in a couple different ways. Number one, it gives us certainty in the fact that we know exactly how we're going to attach the moment frame to the existing structure, and it also gives us a little bit of certainty knowing that we are not going to have to drill into the frame, because there's very sensitive locations on the frame that you cannot create holes in. So that's not the case. Well, it's the same case in a welded frame. It's just that those areas are not as clearly marked as on a Simpson product. So here's a kind of a close-up view of what the Simpson product looks like. Here's your post and your beam, right? And they're connected on the job site by these bolts. This connector here acts as a fuse, and basically what occurs is, if the earthquake is really strong, this is your kind of your sacrificial point of contact, and it can be replaced. You see all these other bolts here. If the earthquake is so mangles this up, you could disconnect the beam from the post, replace that, and you don't have to do anything else other than cover the beam back up, right? So that is very different than what would have to happen if you had a welded beam in that also was contorted. And I'll show you The welded beams, they're sections that are made to bend, but they're not as easily repairable. This is kind of a cool picture. This is an internet picture. This is not one of our job sites. This is a really cool picture that shows like the difficulty and the technicality of installing a moment frame, or really to do this work. You see here, this guy's got like a Genie. Hopefully it's, you know, over 1,000 pound rated, and they're gonna wiggle this beam in. Now you see they're transferring the load. There's a load bearing wall back there that was built. We would do it a little bit different than that. We wouldn't reframe that again, but I digress. And then there's a cross section here where it carries the load on this header, and they're basically going to wiggle this beam in, and this end is going to come back towards the outside of the building, and they're going to slip it in place. It's not an easy thing to do because that thing weighs a lot. So I don't know what's a lot. It could be somewhere between 400 to 800 pounds, depending on the size of it. So let's take a little commercial break. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about welding and bolting. Hey YouTubers, did you get a notice to comply from the city of Santa Monica or Los Angeles? You're going to need a pair of these. You're going to need some plans. You're going to need architectural, engineering, and city representation. I am providing a turnkey solution for you. For $12,497, I'm going to give you architectural, engineering, and city representation. If you want more information about Soft Story Repair, please visit our website, baycitiesconstruction.com. Follow the link below. And give our offices a call at 888-881-7355. My name is Alex Rodriguez with Bay Cities Construction, reminding you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros. Hey folks, Alex with Bay Cities Construction. We're back. For those of you just joining us, we're about to talk about welding moment frames or welded moment frames versus bolted moment frames. So let's get into it. So this is a pretty common situation with welded moment frame installation. You've got a steel post, and you've got a custom made, welded on site, sometimes, most of the time, welded on site beam on top. So there's a few things that you should consider or you should know about welded moment frames. They require a licensed, LA Building and Safety licensed firm to do the welding. Many of the welds have to be inspected on site to make sure that the weld is it has to be certified, basically, okay, so that the weld is good, and it requires super skilled people to do it. And so I mean, I guess, you know, having super skilled people is not a negative part, but they are hard to find, and when the demand for these things goes up, once everybody starts getting close to the deadline, it's going to be hard to find available certified welders to be able to do this. So those are a couple things to keep in mind. Let's talk about, just give a close-up view of the connection point for these welded frames. In this case, you see the cutouts on this beam here. So these cutouts here are created for a reason. These cutouts are made so that if the earthquake is extremely strong, it will actually fail here. It's a controlled fail, okay? And this basically gives a little bit of predictability on how the moment frame will behave in an earthquake. Now, when I say failed, I don't mean that the building's going to fall, right? What I mean is this is going to get contorted and crushed in that area, and it'll be controlled. So what ends up happening is you got to cut this piece out and then reinstall it, and it's going to have to be done on site, or the entire moment frame will have to be removed and replaced. okay? Can be a very costly endeavor. So your first quiz question, how many days does a welded frame add to a project? A, 3 days, B, 10 days, C, 21 days. For those of you that get it right, I've got a gift card for you, okay? In fact, if you don't like coffee and you don't like the Olive Garden, well, some of you guys like the Olive Garden, I've got something that everybody could use, one of my favorite stores at the Home Depot. Got a little Home Depot gift card for you. So if you get it right, go ahead and post your answers. Post your answers below. And for the first, tell you what, the first two that get it right, we'll go ahead and mail you out a gift card of your choosing. So here we got a sample of the Simpson Strong-Tie. And man, I hate for this to sound kind of like a Simpson commercial, right? But I really do like this product. We went to their seminar, and I think I'll tell you a few reasons why I like it. It cuts down on labor substantially, okay? I can't tell you about how many days because otherwise you'd be cheating on a little quiz question. But it does cut down on the days a lot. It adds a significant amount of certainty in how the moment frame is going to be attached to the unit. So I'll give you an example. Questions coming up. Which question? What do you got? Oh, okay. We got a question. Sorry, hold on a second. Go ahead. Go ahead with the question. What do we got?
We have a question from Mark in Culver City. And he says, should I sell my property or make the repairs?
Well, man, that's a tough question. I think a lot of it is going to be a financial deal for you. If you have a 10 or 15 unit building, I think that you could probably, if you look at it as you divide your total cost by the number of units you have, and the more units you have, obviously the smaller the cost gets spread around. But I think that's going to be up to you. If I had a 1 or 2, let's say I had a 3 unit building and it wasn't cash flowing very much, I would consider selling it. The repair costs are, they're not cheap. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the program. But so let's move into the beam and post, the Simpson system. So the reason I like it, it's less labor intensive. It adds certainty to the entire project because I know exactly how this unit is going to be connected to the existing framing, okay? That's a big thing. It's a big thing. It's also, to a certain extent, in some of the harder to reach locations, it's easier to install. Just because you can put it together, in most cases, you can assemble it on site. And there's a few jobs that we're working on right now where there's a grade, there's clearance issues. It's not easy to kind of manhandle a big, heavy moment frame. We think that it improves safety because of the fact that there's no toxic fumes seeping into the structure above, and because it cuts down on the uncertainty, the cost for the installation is less, and the cost for installation is also is affected in a positive way because you can predictably understand what it's going to take to assemble it and put it in place.
Robert has a response for that question that was just asked by your audience. Robert says, repair it all day. Repair all day.
Okay, so that's cool. Let's see, single angle connectors, no fumes. Oh yeah, the fact that you're not doing any welding in many cases means that you don't have to vacate people. If you're welding, folks couldn't be up in the unit the day of, and you may even have to pay for an overnight for them to be for them to be displaced. So there's no special inspections on site for the moment frame itself. There'll be inspections for the assembly of like the foundation and all that, but there's no welding inspection, so that cuts down substantially. By the way, if you were to fail a welding inspection, that's kind of a big deal. You got to grind and cut things off. The delays could be pretty big. So let's look at the kind of a close-up view. Pretty much the orange portion is considered the fuse, right? That's the part that's made to contort, bend, not so much break, but it's made to give, and it's totally replaceable. So these bolts would basically come, in the event that that occurred, these bolts would come off and it would be replaced with a new unit. So let's talk about a little bit of the history of Simpson Strong-Tie. And by the way, you know, I'm not a Simpson representative, but I think it is important if you're putting your trust into a company, particularly a company that's going to make the device that's going to keep your building from catastrophic failure. I think it is absolutely important that you have a little bit of a understanding of what that company's brand, or what that company has done in the construction industry. So Simpson has pretty much made their reputation by making really awesome connections. I've had we retrofitted a condo unit about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and we had to have custom-made hangers. There was nobody else that would engineer. We gave Simpson the loads for the suspension. They're basically suspended and cantilevered balconies on a second floor, and they created custom-made hangers for us. You know, they cost $600 a hanger, and we needed 22 of them, but they were the ones that created the solution. And these things were of amazing quality. They were tip-top American steel. They were awesome. So Simpson is basically a staple. The Simpson Strong staple in the construction industry. They have spent millions of dollars in R&D for this particular product, and really for the system of products that complement the installation of a moment frame. There's a lot of connectors that go into play that make the system work cohesively together. It's a pretty cool deal. By the way, they're here in California, so you're supporting local California jobs, which I don't know about you, but I think it's a real important thing. The Simpson also makes this product. It's called the Simpson Strong-Wall. I think this is a picture of the older version. The newer version is made out of steel, wavered steel. Yeah, we got both of them. Okay, cool.
They make both.
They make both. They make this is out of an OSB product, and there's a bunch of different applications for them. But basically, when you need a shear wall, when you need lateral strength, the architects and the engineers will call for these things. In many cases, the engineer will send Simpson the specs on how much the building weighs, and Simpson will actually deliver a solution for the foundation and for the dimension of the strong wall. By the way, before we move on, this is another savings that I didn't talk to you about before, and it's super, super important. When an engineer specs out steel, welded steel, the engineer has to determine on their own they have to spend a significant amount of time doing the calculations for how big the dimensions of the steel have to be. Simpson does all that, okay? You're cutting down on hours, I mean, in a major way. I'm talking about engineering hours, right? So engineers charge by the hour, like lawyers do. In many ways, like contractors do. So when you can cut down that cost, you can get the plans turned around a lot faster, number one, and number two, the actual cost of the engineering is a lot less. So keep that in mind. That's another kind of hidden value by going with a Simpson product. So in our case, when we do the plans for you, we will call for Simpson products, because there's no doubt that you will benefit as our customer by the time savings in the install and the time savings in even coming up with the plans. In fact, we have an amazing offer. We'll get you your first set of plans within 4 weeks, and if we don't, we'll give you $500 a discount on the plans. So we're running a little promo on that. But that's how much we believe in this product. We really think it's the best product for you, and it's of the best benefit overall. So getting back to this, what is a strong wall, or what does it do? So this is kind of this year's new addition, and in this case, it's a louvered steel product. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty impressive. They have spent a lot of time testing this thing out. They meaning Simpson, pretty much test these things until they break. There's a video link that we used on our last video. In fact, if you go on YouTube and look up our channel, it's in the actual presentation. It's a full-size house, 2 or 3 story house that was on the shake table in Japan, and one of them didn't have any of the Simpson products, and one of them did have the retrofitting, and you could see how the collapse and how the unprotected house basically disintegrates during an earthquake. So these shear walls, they're basically lateral reinforcements. They're prefabricated. They're ready to install. They come with kits for tying to the ceiling and also tying to the foundation. It's kind of like a Lego set, for us. If you think of like guys playing in the mud and enjoying themselves with a little bit of fun with some concrete and a Lego erector set, this is it. The kit for the attachments come into play. There's very little unknowns. So when we give a quote on the install for these things, there's very little need. There's little need to pad for a lot of unknowns. When in construction, by the way, if you don't know, if your contractor isn't sure about what they're about to do or what it takes to get it done, they're going to put in a contingency amount in there that you'll have to pay for, right? So just keep that in mind. You want to have the least amount of insecurity in a design moving forward.
We have a question from Landon in Santa Monica.
Right on.
He says, how long does it take to get the plans?
So we'll get you the plans in 4 weeks or less, or we'll give you $500 discount on the plans. Some engineers I've heard are taking 6 to 8 weeks. Some of them aren't even taking on any more work because they're so busy doing home additions and stuff like that. And by the way, the engineers that do this type of work it's a little bit more specialized. So because they I guess all engineers deal with how there's a coefficient that they use that it takes into account where the building is in relation to the closest fault line, and that's part of the calculation and how they do the deal. But you really want to work with somebody that's done quite a few of these before. That way you don't get over-engineered, which can be expensive too if they go a little crazy with the engineering. And obviously you want somebody that has a good rapport and stuff with the city, good reputation. So this leads us into quiz number 2. Can you use a strong wall without using a moment frame? All right, so we got some dinner here. We got dinner. Man, I got some more Olive Garden cards. I've got a Longhorn Steakhouse. So for this question, can you put a strong wall in place without a moment frame? That's the basic question, yes or no. Post your comments and your questions below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. And for the person that gets the first person gets the right answer, you're gonna get dinner on me. Oh, and by the way, we'll give answers at the end of the show. So let's look at another use of a strong wall. This is kind of obviously a garage door opening on a 2-story house. And you see the garage door opening, for those of you who don't realize this, it creates a very weak part of your house. So you have to laterally strengthen it. Keep in mind that from the corner, whenever you have from a corner of a building, you have less than 2 feet, you have to put some type of lateral reinforcement in there, okay? Anything less than 2 feet, you must put some type of a Strong-Tie, a hardy panel, something. This happens to be less feet. This looks like probably like 18 inches to me. If it was 2 feet, you could get away with just doing framing and plywood. But most garage openings don't have that. You don't have the space. You want to. That's the deal. So let's talk about the benefits of bolting. Let's kind of recap a little bit. Faster install, easier install, less uncertainty. You have the benefits of. Oh, I'm glad we talked about this. This is reiterating the benefits of having Simpson do this, right? So this is a cutaway of a Simpson plan, and it tells you exactly how to create the rebar architecture, right? So this is called a grade beam. It's basically a long foundation that you don't see. It's subterranean, right? Well, all foundations are in the ground, but It's a big block of concrete. Okay, typically it's 24 inches wide, 24 inches deep, and it'll run on a moment frame. It'll run about a foot past each column, so it's huge. Considering that most moment frames have a 17 to 21 foot span, so it's definitely a huge amount of concrete on the floor, and that's what what the engineer is using to resist the weight of the earthquake. For a strong panel or hardy panel, Simpson gives you the exact architecture of how those bolts are going to be. So think of this as your grade level. This is all concrete, and that's all concrete. And then these things are called stirrups. Think of they're rings that tie. See if there's I don't know if we have another cutout. No, we don't have a cutout. Well, this does kind of give a cutout. Anyhow, the bolts get tied in to the rebar architecture that's in the grade beam. And then in this picture here, you could see the grade beam goes from post to post. And then, so you've got typically 2 bars on top, 2 number 6 rebar on the bottom. And then you've got these rings that hold all four of the number 6 rebars together. And there's a very specific spacing of these rings. Some of them will be 16 on center. It depends on how much the resistance is, but this is all stuff that Simpson provides, and it cuts down on engineering time big time in a big way. It also makes it easy for us installers to put it together and make it happen. So as you can see, in a condition like this where there's a lot of stuff happening, it would be very difficult to install a welded frame. Like basically, you would have in this case, you would have to weld the frame on site, and that would be pretty crazy. Like the people on the top would have to be gone for a couple days, and there's a lot more to it. A lot more to installing a welded frame in there. For those of you that want more info on earthquake retrofitting, or really on any home remodeling project, we have over 400 articles on remodeling, home additions, what to expect, how to hire a contractor, all sorts of topics. We try and answer your questions by putting together a lengthy, informative blog article that we post on our website, baycitiesconstruction.com/blogs. So this is a resource for you. We spend a lot of money and a lot of energy coming up with the content and disseminating that content, and it is 100% free for your benefit. For those of you that aren't familiar with Bay Cities Construction, that's me on the right and Steve, my project manager, on the left. We went to the Simpson course last year, and it was really, really a cool opportunity. We've been in business for 15 years. You can look up our license with the California State Contractors Board. In addition to soft story retrofitting, we do kitchen and bathroom models. That's kind of our bread and butter business. But we've done a lot of the repairs that you have to do in conjunction with a soft story retrofit. So, we figured this year we're definitely going to do more soft story retrofit repairs, and we are at your disposal to help you manage that. In fact, we'll put together a tenant habitability plan, represent you with the city, and really guide you through, hold your hand through this kind of a little bit scary process, I guess it could be. For those of you that want to contact us, this is our contact info. You can also find us, if you want to look at our reviews or what people are talking about us, you can go on Yelp and Houzz and Google reviews. Definitely a lot of content. Do we have any questions, or is there anybody else posting any comments that we should address?
Yeah, Robert Bonner said, hey, look, imagine how much they've done for the residential garages. He's talking about hardy frames.
Oh yeah, the hardy frames are a game changer, especially for 2-story garages. Remember what I said, that that between the floor and the roof, the weight is 50 pounds per square foot. Think of a garage that is about 450, maybe 500 square feet. What that weighs, that's 25,000 pounds, right? Just in that section. And if you get a a pretty substantial earthquake, a 6.5 or something like that, that is definitely a ton of weight moving around. And it just really allowed that opening, the profile of the opening to be smaller. It's a really cool piece of technology.
We have a question. I think it's regarding the little commercial that we ran. Ron from Studio City says, "How much does it cost? Soft Story Retrofit. How much does it cost?"
The actual retrofit. Okay, so the actual retrofit, statistically speaking, it's between 65,000 and 100K, and a lot of it depends on how much you need, how many moment frames you need. If you have a very wide opening, you could be looking at a little bit over 100,000. Some buildings have the parking, like the unit we're looking at on Sawtell. It has parking in the front of the house and basically off the street, and then it has parking on an alley. So in some cases, you'll have to put 2 moment frames in, and it could probably push your project up in the low 100s. On the low end of the scale, oh man, I'm almost giving away a Hardy panel question, so I won't. On the low end of the scale, it could be in the mid 50,000. So everything is a little bit up in the air cost wise until you have a design. In fact, I would be very weary of anybody that gave you a hard quote on doing a retrofit without having any engineering. Quite frankly, that number's made up, because there's no way that the contractor would know what the repair is going to be. So that you keep in mind one thing, that the engineers could require the contractor to retrofit a part of the building that isn't directly on the opening. Like we may have to shear wall the far back wall of the building. Let me go back so I can kind of run you through this real quick, because that's a really cool question. And it's something that deserves a little bit of thought, because I've heard of people being quoted all sorts of stuff with no plans. Like a quote with no plans is not even an estimate. It's just some number that somebody kind of cooked up. So for example, this is a single story house, but in some cases, the engineer would require this entire wall to be sheared in addition to this, or shearing the overhang up here, not these little sticks, but underneath the floor of the second story. Some of the stuff, like the set of plans that we have right now, the engineer is calling for the entire ceiling of the garage space to be for the where the floor plywood meets, for it to be blocked off, and that requires basically 500 square feet of stucco to be removed, put in the blocking, put in insulation, and then put stucco back in, so it has a 1 hour fire rating. So even though it's only 1 moment frame, the additional work that you have to do sometimes can be a big chunk of money, and it's really reckless and irresponsible for somebody just to throw out a number without having a design in place. So that's why we want to give you certainty, we want to give you price certainty. When we quote the price for coming up with the plans, that's what the price is going to be. And in many cases, we will give you a little discount of that towards the construction cost, okay? So keep that in mind. If you don't have a set of plans, you cannot get a real quote. You can get an estimate, a ballpark idea, all that, but it's definitely not an accurate enough number for you to make any decisions on who to hire for the project. That's why we always say you really should hire the person that you feel comfortable with, that has a good reputation, that you feel can put your project back together once the demo's done in a timely fashion. Because once you demo this out, you have displaced tenants, the clock is ticking and the costs are being incurred actively, okay? So you really, really want to hire somebody that you feel totally solid about, that'll put it back together. And that may not be us. In many cases, we're not a good fit for some people. That's totally okay. But what I'm saying is, when you do choose somebody, make sure that you keep that in mind. You're not hiring people on the estimate price. That number does not mean anything. We have a really cool article that we'll link below about what's the difference between an estimate, a quote, and what else we call it, and a bid. Yeah. So we have a really cool article about that. It's typically about remodeling and home additions and stuff like that. But it is absolutely true in this case. If you don't have some hard plans, you can't really come up with a hard price. We have any other questions?
Yeah, Jane from Van Nuys says, do you do the plans?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do the plans. And it wasn't something that we've done that we had initially done, right? We worked off of other engineers' plans, but we came across a lot of problems. We came across a lot of engineers that weren't hip to using Hardy frame or Hardy, the Simpson products. So they called for welded frames, and these are a lot of the engineers that we came across that had welded frame, moment frames, came from a background of high-rise structures. So welded frames was something they felt very comfortable with, but it's not, in our opinion, it's not the best use of the customer's money. So we think that there's a big savings and a big benefit in time, in having less time in construction involved by using a prefabricated Simpson frame. So yes, we do. We will come up with the design, the city representation. We will provide you with a tenant habitability plan, and this is a concierge service, turnkey deal. We'll make sure that you're taken care of and that your project stays on track and gets completed as soon as possible. Any other questions? What else we got?
We have some guesses from Robert. He said I think it was for quiz question number 1.
Quiz question number 1.
He said his answer is C.
21 days? Is C 21 days?
I do not remember, but his guess was C. I guess we can let him know after the show.
We will have to give you your feedback after the show. But Robert says 21 days. What do you guys think? Does anybody else disagree? Agree? What do you guys think?
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comment below. Post. And remember, if you haven't shared this with your friends and family, please go ahead and share it. Any other questions? Anybody? Anything else? What else we got?
I think that's it for now, but we do want to thank everybody who joined us throughout and commented on.
Hey, thanks very much for those of you that joined us. I know that your life is busy, and stopping by and watching our little show is a big compliment to us. We hope that we're adding value to you, that we're with our education and with all the content that we have at baycitiesconstruction.com. If you want to reach out to us, you can send us a message below, or you can call my offices at 888-881-7355. 888-881-7355. You can always go to baycitiesconstruction.com. And don't forget to come back next week for our show. Next week, we're going to be talking about kitchen remodels. All right, kitchen remodels. We're going to be doing a little case study. We're going to talk about kitchen remodeling costs. So for those of you that are interested in getting this Soft Story Retrofit done, we do have a special right now. $12,497 gets you full architectural and engineering. It gets you city representation. We will put together a habitability plan for you. We will consult with our engineering team to make sure that we come up with the most cost-effective and strongest retrofit, and we'll put together a plan for you. If we do not deliver the first version of the plans within 4 weeks, I'll give you a $500 discount. And for those of you watching the show or watching a shared show over the next, how many more days we got to the end of the month? We got we got 3 more, no, to the end of the month. We got 3 more weeks. For those of you that book a job with us, I'm going to give you back, I haven't done this, I haven't given this offer before. We're going to give you back $3,500 of credit towards construction costs. So you're going to pay $12,000, call it $12,500. We'll give you $3,500 back to reduce the costs. And I hope that you take advantage of that. I'm not going to be extending that offer from this point on forward. It'll be more. It'll be the full price. So keep that in mind. Share it with your friends. Love to talk to you. Love to consult with you. If you've got a project that needs retrofit work, send me some pictures at alex@baycitiesconstruction.com. If you send me some pictures, we can definitely talk about it over the phone and see what the next steps are going to be. For those of you that have been on, thank you very much for being part of the show.
Robert,
coming, yes.
we want to thank Robert for
Robert, thanks for joining us. Luce, thanks for joining us. Thanks for participating. Lydia, I hope the weather's good out in New York.
Brian, thank you for sharing.
Brian, thanks for sharing. Appreciate that, my man. For those of you, we'll see you next week. We hope to be broadcasting 5:30 on Tuesday next week. And thanks very much for joining the show. Remember, folks, You don't need a contractor. You need a team of pros. Hey YouTubers, did you get a notice to comply from the city of Santa Monica or Los Angeles? You're gonna need a pair of these. You're gonna need some plans. You're gonna need architectural, engineering, and city representation. I am providing a turnkey solution for you. For $12,497, I'm gonna give you architectural, engineering, and city representation. If you want more information about Soft Story Repair, please visit our website, baycitiesconstruction.com. Follow the link below and give our offices a call at 888-881-7355. My name is Alex Rodriguez with Bay Cities Construction, reminding you, you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros.
Kitchen you want today from Bay Cities Construction in the Southern California and Los Angeles area. There is no better company who takes time out of the equation to get you a detailed plan of what your new kitchen will look like. For $297, get your design plans done, your interior design plans done, and entire project scope done right now. Get your finished kitchen in 90 days or less. We are the best in the Los Angeles and Southern California area, and there's no need to shop anywhere else. Just get started with Bay Cities Construction. Go to baycitiesconstruction.com. That's baycitiesconstruction.com.
My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor. You need a team of pros.